All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Problem Solver Politics live stream.
Oh, very blue.
Oh, dude, I'm totally blue. I don't know. I'll fix that in a second. It's probably the white balance or something like that.
Man.
Oh, dog, I forgot about that one. You're right.
How
Anyway,
could you ever?
I'm your host, Cardellis. We've coded the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
Dang, you look normal.
I do look normal.
You look normal, dog. I'm going to go fix that.
Okay.
Tell them what's going on.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a second to fix that first so you can settle down and listen in. So we'll talk about some other things going on today. First of all, I guess we can talk a little bit about, if you want, the... Here we go. Sorry, I'm getting this ready. There was the debates last night. I don't know if you guys... I'm assuming most of you guys in chat probably watched the debate or got some gist of it. I feel the same way I felt after the first debate between Trump and Pence, where I'm like, man, I hate these people so much. So I feel largely the same. Oh my God, yeah, the fly gate. Speaking of, man, there's a fly I've been trying to get rid of. I'll get rid of it in a minute. I'm flying in the studio for 20 minutes. You know what's weird though? Like Hillary Clinton had flies land on her too. Maybe you could say it's a bad omen for Mike Pence to have flies land. No, Cardin's here. He's literally fixing his camera. His camera just the colors were wrong. He was too blue. I believe Cardin is
Right here. I'm fixing it, dog.
okay. He's fixing it. But yeah, and then we'll get into the bigger story of today, and it actually. Tell you what, while Cardin's getting ready, nah, I don't want to start there. I'll just filibuster for another, 90 seconds. Cardin sits down. Anyways, sorry, let me know in chat what you guys thought about the debate last night. I thought it was pretty bad. I thought, here's the thing. I was not a fan of Kamala during the first was it 3 or 2 debates we saw her in the presidential primary? I thought, she always came across as kind of rude and condescending. I thought she did again. And I don't know, wasn't a fan of that. Mike Pence, more than Trump, Mike Pence acted like someone who could not have respected the 2 people in that room with him less. They would talk and it was like, is someone talking? I can't hear you. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll get to Mike Pence. So Card.
Oh, I could jump on the Mike Pence train, man.
Hold on. Do you remember a couple months ago?
Yeah.
About 2 or 3 days before Kamala Harris was officially announced the VP for Joe Biden, it leaked on Politico.
Yeah, we covered that.
Yeah. Well, today, we'll go through this. Today, this article went live. I didn't crop it correctly.
Ugh, the shame.
But check this out. This is how it went live from Deadline. And spoilers, they came out and said this was a mistake. But check this out. Prep, do not publish until the news crosses. Vice President Mike Pence has tested positive for coronavirus 8 days after Donald Trump. Now, if you got a big brain, if you got a really big brain, you'll notice. Actually, no, you wouldn't from that, but you will from the text. So, that was the headline. Text of the article. Went on to read. Here we go. 2 most powerful men in America now have coronavirus. Again, this is false. According to Deadline, they should not have published this, but this is what went live a few hours ago. So this is what went live, but it's not been verified or proven true.
Okay.
So that Vice President Mike Pence announced late on Wednesday that he is among those who've tested positive in the ongoing White House coronavirus outbreak. You'll notice again, they said late on Wednesday. It is now late on Thursday. And that's not been announced publicly. So, but this is what went live, and this is what I think is very interesting. So they go on to, it comes after Pence would repeatedly say he tested negative for the virus, including before Wednesday night's debate, yada, yada. Journalists do this. As I mentioned before, I think this is it. Here we go. This was published a few days before Kamala Harris was announced Joe Biden's VP.
Yeah, we covered that.
This isn't totally unheard of, the idea of pre-publishing these articles. And then, and again, Deadline came out and said, note to readers, a draft post of a story about Vice President Pence testing positive for coronavirus was never meant to be published and was accidentally published on Deadline. Apologies to the Vice President and our readers, more at Deadline. And the more is more or less just, yes, published by mistake. Now, one thing about this that is kind of a little bit interesting, I guess you could say a little bit, and make sure I have it pulled this up, is I don't know how much of this is always what's going on, but earlier today news came out that Mike Pence was postponing his Friday trip to Indiana and was set to return to D.C. So there's not a whole lot more in this article than that Pence is in Arizona now, has canceled events in Indiana tomorrow. It will be returning to Washington instead. Vice President Pence was in Boulder City, Nevada, not Boulder, Colorado, but Boulder City, Nevada. He's not the Buffalo Bills. He's Mike Pence. And actually hosted a rally. So Vice President Mike Pence touched on all of President Trump's familiar re-election points during a campaign rally Thursday in Boulder City. Now, there is rumors that continue to circle as to why Mike Pence is now returning to Washington, D.C. One of those rumors, I don't have it pulled up yet, I'll pull it up for a second, is that, which I don't know how valid this would be. One of the rumors is that Rudy Giuliani is really sick.
Really?
I don't know why that means Mike Pence is to go back to D.C. I don't know why that's.
Yeah.
That was one of the rumors I saw. I believe here the rumor they're putting forward, I believe, is primarily that he's tested positive with corona, which, by the way, he, according to Deadline, hasn't. They can't publish yet at the very least. I mean, he literally did hold a campaign event today in Nevada. So, we'll see. But yeah, he's now headed back to D.C. I'll see if I can get that pulled up for you guys, the weird speculation that has something to do with Rudy Giuliani. I don't know why. Giuliani being sick, I would not be surprised at all. I mean, he was very close with a bunch of people who did come down testing positive. Wait, did Rudy Giuliani say? Hold on, I'm not even gonna say it. I haven't heard that yet. I have not heard that Bill Barr tested positive. Let's see.
I love Twitter.
I'll see if I can pull it up for you guys in 1 second. But yeah, anyway, the conspiracies go on forever about this and this. But right now, where we're at seems to be that. I mean, like, here's the thing. There's one more thing I want to touch on, guys. Sorry. And this was an interesting story that I thought came out. I didn't think it was I thought it deserved more credit than it got. It's not spicy enough for Twitter, but this is interesting. Check this out. McConnell says he hasn't been to White House since August, citing COVID-19 protocols. Check out what your own very own boy, Cocaine Mitch, had to say here. Quote, I haven't actually been to the White House since August the 6th. I like how he phrased that, August the 6th. That's all I normally talk.
Yeah.
Because my impression was their approach to how to handle this is different from mine and what I insisted that we do in the Senate, which is to wear a mask and practice social distancing. McConnell said at a Kentucky event in response to a question about whether he believes President Donald Trump should be disclosing more information about his recent coronavirus diagnosis. Interesting, though.
Wow.
Well, how does he word this again? Their approach was different than how he insists that they do it in the Senate, basically disapproving of their approach. But it is really interesting. This whole coronavirus spreading through the White House thing is like obviously bad for multiple reasons for everyone in the White House. One, they have coronavirus. That's not good. But two, like you're even starting to see, some dissension in the ranks here from, and I mean, I don't even know if you would call this in the ranks. It's the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, saying like, I literally don't even go there anymore because they're not handling these protocols correctly.
Well, within a week, everybody will have gotten it. So, within 3 weeks, it'll be all fine. What? Where'd I go, Cody?
I don't know. What happened?
Jeez, man.
I think just turn the filter.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it just turned the filter.
There we are. Boom shakalaka.
Kenneth Booker, TL Super Chat. I heard the fly on Pence's head tested positive. Hey, who released the fly? That's what I want to know. Where'd that fly? Can we trace that fly? Where did the fly come from, right? They don't just materialize. It got in somehow.
As a pest control professional, I find that venue's approach to fly control subpar, and they need to get on it. We have it here. Have you ever seen our fly light, Cody? You know which one it is, right?
What? Oh yeah,
our little fly light.
No, of course,
yeah. If you ever look at the studio shot. If we ever have a studio shot, sometimes in the corner, I don't know if it shows up in the studio shot, but we got a fly light in here because these freaking flies fly in and they'll buzz it. Oh, it's like, it's just barely off screen. I framed it correctly. But yeah, you got to do that. And by the way, how were they not swatting at that thing? Like Hillary Clinton had it on her straight up like her eyeball in 2016. Do you remember that?
I do. No, I do remember that one.
And it was like, how do you not like wince at that and be like, dude, get out of here? You know what I'm saying?
That looked like a conscious decision. Jesus.
Yeah.
To be like, I know there's a fly there, but like maybe she thought it was better for her to like, actually, how about this? I guess you know what? I'll get a cautious shout out to New York Post for putting this image together. That's exactly what we're talking about right here.
Wow, she looked so much younger back then. Oh, goodness.
And we all did, right? 2016?
Wow.
Different time for all of us.
Oh, goodness gracious. She's like a baby.
Well, it's also a picture. It'll get rid of a lot of the lines, you know.
Yeah,
And
Kenneth
Pence.
Booker says pretty fly for a white guy. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's the one.
I see what you did there. Kenneth Booker. And you know what? It works. But
Hey, someone said they have an electric fly swatter.
yeah, totally.
Check it out. So do we.
Boom shakalaka. That's just a production thing. So I do have to say, dude, I think Mike Pence absolutely wrecked
Oh, really?
Kamala Harris.
That's what you
Not
think?
with one-liners, with dignity.
With dignity.
No, dude, that guy he just want like this. This is what the Republican
Okay, but
Party
hold on,
should
hold on.
do.
Hold on. Before we get too
Yeah.
far into why, before we get into the stunning coincidence that whoever you support for president's vice president won the debate, what do you
No,
think?
I told you the one with Chris Wallace and Trump was bad.
Okay, but anyway,
I'm intellectually honest.
my point aside, back to this idea of one, because as far as we know, Deadline said they published this article incorrectly, but we don't like. I mean, like, would you be shocked if you found out Mike Pence was sick? Like everyone else that was around him is. Like, I mean,
yeah,
like,
I was
wouldn't be
about going to
shocked.
say it's. In fact, to a certain extent, I think that once a certain percentage of your staff has just gotten it, at what point do you just like I don't know. I remember when I was a kid and all the other kids had. There was one kid on our block that ended up with chickenpox. Literally, all the parents threw a party, and my mom said, "Hey, doesn't that kid's lollipop look good?"
That is so ridiculous.
And literally had me go over and suck on the kid's lollipop so I get chickenpox out of the way, so it would be done and just over with. So like, at what point do you just strategically say, "Hey, look, we just got to get this in and out of our systems. Let's all just suck on each other's lollipops," and boom,
disgusting. It is
You know what I'm saying?
Disgusting.
disgusting.
That is absolutely disgusting. But okay, hold on. But this is what I want to actually talk about a little bit. Okay. Like, if Mike Pence and Rudy Giuliani, this is if. But dude, if Mike Pence and Rudy Giuliani both have coronavirus as well, like, you could basically say Trump's entire inner circle, more or less, got coronavirus, right?
Okay, fair enough.
Do you think that moves the needle in debate?
Well, why would
And
it?
inversely, if they all beat it and they're all healthy, it doesn't move the needle.
Well,
again.
no, it moves the needle in the debate for people that think emotionally.
I'm sorry, I'm in election, not debate. That was my brain fart.
Okay, in the election. So in the election, yeah, because it's like, well, you couldn't even protect yourself. And I could see how it could be spun in a negative way. At the same time, to me, it actually makes sense that somebody like Donald Trump would get it before somebody like Joe Biden did, because Joe Biden isn't surrounded by 50 million advisors who are coming in and giving him a briefing on what Al-Qaeda is up to that day, what the remnants of the Irish Liberation Front are up to, what the remnants of, X, Y, and Z terrorist groups are doing. Oh, here's the 15 credible threats on your life.
I'll tell you what, I'm actually
He isn't
very
surrounded by
interested in what's going on with the
Secret
IRA.
Service people. Like, just the amount of people the president meets on a daily basis is triple, quadruple, quintuple. Therefore, the chances of him getting infected are triple, quadruple, quintuple. So,
I guess,
I mean-
but is it like Joe Biden doesn't meet people, all right? Like, I'm just saying like, that's
but not as much
that's
as the
his
president.
pitch. He honestly doesn't. But I'm just saying that'll be his
Yeah.
pitch, right? Like, that's what he'll just say. Like,
now I get he could say, look, you messed up the coronavirus, even though Donald Trump, when there was only 5 cases from China, actually shut down travel from China. Like all of those intellectually dishonest things that have an emotional impact could be said and could make Donald Trump look bad. The soundbite is in his favor. You couldn't even protect yourself, the most powerful man in the world, from the coronavirus, so you're obviously incompetent.
Is that your Joe Biden impersonation?
No, Joe Biden, I'm saying that's what the soundbite's going to be.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I could see that soundbite coming out.
Yeah, well, beyond that, I don't know. I do, because I will say at the same time, like, honestly, I don't know how much it would affect me. Just to your point of like, yeah, the president and like people come and go from the White House and they got sick with coronavirus and they got treated. It's like I don't know, like no offense to anyone, but I saw like a lot of like stuff from Twitter. People like everyone in America should have access to healthcare. Donald Trump does. I'm like, why? It doesn't make any sense. Why would any state partition the equal care of healthcare to every one of its numerous citizens, to the most important citizen for the function of the state. I don't know. It's like I don't care if it's Trump, Obama, Biden, Hillary Clinton, Tom Brady, or, just pick anyone. I don't care who's the president. I would imagine they would get better healthcare than me just because they're the president, But you also have to consider, Donald Trump himself said today in a video, right, that he's a senior, which he is. He's a senior citizen, which is, I have to admit, when he said that he's a senior citizen, like, I never think of the president as a senior citizen, but yeah, he is. Same with Biden. Most of our government, same as the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader, they're all senior citizens.
Yeah.
Which, that's a whole other problem. Isn't that, like, I'm getting sidetracked here, but isn't that absurd, man? Like, that's okay. President, not the vice president. Is Mike Pence a senior citizen? He really doesn't seem like one.
Yeah, no, he's definitely, because now, also depends on the state. Each state can define what's a senior citizen.
But I mean, like
in some
Trump's
states,
like
it's
70,
low as 50.
right? Like, so,
yeah,
I mean, like, you're obviously.
Yeah, it's like, so, I mean, in some states, I think you're a senior citizen at 50, aren't you? Here, it's 55 commonly.
Even, like, colloquially, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think, like, for example,
he looks more like an upper middle-aged dad than a senior citizen.
He's 61. I don't consider 61 senior citizen. Do you?
It's anything over 55 and you're an
I hear
AARP,
that. But like,
dude.
is someone 61 an old person? But when you're like 70 plus, I'm like, all of a sudden, like,
well, see, 40 is the new
old.
30 and 60 is the new 50.
Yeah.
So if you're 66, it's like how we used to view 56-year-olds. It's not until you turn 70 that we think you're old.
I think I said he thought he was 61.
Do you think Pence will run for
That's
president?
like 61. Honestly, is I don't know. I don't think he'll run for president. Hopefully, he doesn't.
Oh, really? Why not?
But just like, look at these ages. Like Trump is 74. Biden is 77. He's 61. How like Nancy? Like it? Like he's. You're like 61 shouldn't be the young whippersnapper of the group. You know what I mean? I understand you want experience, but like, dude, Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are old. Yeah. All these people, like senior citizen old.
Yeah, boomers ruined America, dog.
Having it framed that way, man, like, senior. Mitch McConnell's 78. I want to make sure I got these numbers right. Mitch McConnell's 78. Nancy Pelosi is 80. This is, okay, hold on. Anybody hearing any of this nonsense talk about like, well, if Trump and Pence are out of the way and there's no president, technically Nancy Pelosi's 80 years old. Like, she's not going to be like president ever. She's 80 years old. That is crazy. She's 3 years older than Joe Biden. Like, that is, I have to admit, I knew Nancy Pelosi. I didn't know she was 80. I knew she was in her late 70s. It is shocking seeing 80 for anyone. Like, Mitch McConnell being 78 is also shocking to see. Mitch McConnell, here's a stat I love to bring up. Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden are older than the atomic bomb. When they were born, there's no atomic bombs. There was no. They were born before World War II really ended. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
They were born before the end of the Second World War.
Yeah.
The president, the Speaker of the House, the competing president, and the Senate Majority Leader. Insane, man.
Yeah.
All these people, senior citizens,
just memorize this
susceptible
phrase.
to coronavirus. It's
Boomers
crazy.
ruined America.
I know why Mitch McConnell's so worried about it. He's 78. He was 80 years old.
Yeah.
All people, by the way, who I think in a serious country would be retired with their grandchildren right now.
Yeah.
In a serious country, there's people in their 60s that are ready to take. And I guess you can say Mike Pence 61, right? But in a real serious, like, not even serious, but like in countries that actually have like a healthy political system, I think you're getting people ready to replace these people that are almost 80 years old. But in countries where you don't, you have people that are 80 years old filling the most vital roles of the government.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No, and that's what's wrong with having the seniority-based leadership model. And, dude, just memorize this phrase. Boomers ruined America. Boomers ruined America, and Gen Z is going to pick up the ashes because millennials are the throwaway generation. That's it right there. Boomers ruined America. Gen Z is going to have to pick up the mess and the ashes, rebuild from the ashes, because millennials are just the throwaway generation.
Someone brought up a good point.
Okay.
Nancy McConnell, which I might as well. Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Joe Biden, they're not boomers, dude. They were born before the war ended. They weren't part of the baby boom after the war ended. They were born. They're like they're
Well,
what's it called?
you know,
They
the
were-
truth is
are
that-
they the golden? What was it? The silver generation? What was that called?
No, they would call them the silent generation.
they
But
were
the
the
truth is that actually
the
means the
silent
people that were born.
generation.
No, but people born during the war are actually still considered boomers in their attitude and their lexicon.
Nancy Pelosi was born in like 1939, dude. Is that a baby boomer? 19. When was it exactly?
No, there was actually very few birth rates between 1939 and 45 because the war was gearing up. 39 was the last year of high birth rate, so she actually would be a silent generation.
Oh, sorry, 1940, March 40.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Dude, how can hold on? Forget that this is Nancy Pelosi.
dude, look at our birth rate during the war, bro.
Forget that this is a
All
politician.
the men were off at war.
I just want you to look at that on the screen. March 26th. This is a politician in our country
Yeah.
who serves as in one of the most vital roles of our government. She was born in 1940.
Yeah.
I want to sound like ageist. Like I have no problem with old people. Old people are fine. But like at a certain point, I don't care what the job is. You should probably be retired and with your family because like this is just crazy.
Yeah.
1940, dude. And again, Mitch McConnell's 78. He's in the same boat as her. And I think it's actually fitting as one's the Senate Majority Leader and one's Speaker of the House. Like just, you know, they kind of fill very similar roles. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat. Like,
Yeah.
just to show this is literally across the board just how it is. For 80 years old,
Yeah, dude, if you look,
years old,
the
man.
lowest of our birth rate was in 1936 to 1942. And then it didn't get low again until the late 70s after leftist secularism started vilifying Christianity
Oh my
successfully
God. Yeah, that's all
and families.
That's all that ever happened. Nothing else
And-
happened during any of that time. Nothing
yeah.
else.
No, the sexual revolution, the whole 9 years. 60s ruined everything, bro.
Yeah, nothing.
And
Nothing
the
else
60s
happened. No.
60s ruined everything. But yeah, you look at the birth rate and it was like literally almost half of its peak in the 20s and its peak in the 50s. So Nancy Pelosi is actually kind of a rarity, being born there right in 1940. That was one of the lowest birth rate years in a 20-year history before or after. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. So anyway, yeah, whatever. Call it the silent generation if you want to, but I just say boomers. Boomers ruined America. You know what I'm saying? And your children. Actually, not your children, but, well, not my children because they're not Gen Z either. It'll be a different generation by then. But Gen Z will have to build from the ashes all the damage that the boomers did. And the millennials will just be passed over. They're the Passover generation. You feel me, dog? Not so much.
I guess.
All right. So anyway,
Well, because one
Uh-huh.
more question to bring up, and I'm trying to build stuff up. But anyway, we have seen, because for example, I mean, like this was, I mean, think about it. Like how do I word this correctly? A few years back, I'll see if I can pull the article up for you guys. Somebody hacked into, I don't know if it was AP. They hacked into the Twitter account of a big news website. And they published, I honestly forgot what, I'll pull it up. But they published some news that literally crashed the market a little bit temporarily. Here we go. It's 2013. White House explosions. That's what it was. Jesus Christ. Here's an article.
Okay.
Take a trip down memory lane. But dude, this was 2013. Imagine how
Get
much things have
out.
changed as far as influence goes. But the market briefly plunged after the AP's hacked Twitter account falsely reports the White House explosions.
whoa.
No, hold on. I gotta pull up a different article that I don't know. Guard, no, I read. AP Twitter hack causes panic 7 years ago and sends Dow plunging. So do they have the actual tweet embedded? Back then they weren't doing that kind of stuff as much. Okay, here we go. Read the article. Wall Street collided with social media on Tuesday when a false tweet from a trusted news organization sent the U.S. market free fall. 143-point fall on the Dow Jones Industrial Average came after hackers sent a message from the Twitter feed of the Associated Press saying the White House has been hit by 2 explosions and that Barack Obama was injured. Oh, like imagine how crazy it was if people just started selling before doing like the tiniest bit of research into like, did the White House very publicly get blown up? But they didn't. So the fake tweet, which was immediately corrected by Associated Press employees, caused sensation on Twitter and in the market. White House officials are unimpressed. AP reporter apologized for Twitter hacking at the start of the daily White House briefing. Yada, yada. They mentioned the market recovered a few minutes after the misunderstanding. I actually have a good picture of it here in the Quartz article where you can see it recover. However, we saw the other day Donald Trump tweet about killing the stimulus talks.
Yep.
And again, the market reacted very, very sharply. It declined almost immediately as a result.
Yep.
Now, thankfully, this was just deadline. But at a certain point, I don't know, it bothers me how much, even if just temporarily released hacked or bad information, could move very real things quickly.
Yeah.
I mean,
there used to be a detachment between, I read it online and reality. Yeah. But now that is far less detached and it influences the reality of things. And that is a little bit freaky. I completely get it. One of the only things smart or life experienced I heard Crystal Ball ever say was that the S&P 500 is a graph of rich people's feelings. And that's actually really, really true. Dare I say wise. And whenever I see things like that, it just reminds me that the S&P 500 or the stock market, as it's called, in Spanish you call it la bolsa, which literally means the bag. How cool is that? But when you look at the stock market, you realize it's not tied to reality. People always think that it's some kind of fixed measurement, but it's more like a confidence report than anything. And the truth is, investors and rich people and their confidence is just an emotional ticker tape. So when you're looking at the S&P 500, it's literally just rich people's feeling and how they're feeling that day. So, I mean, that's all I have to say about that, Cody.
No, but just the idea, dude, Twitter is a company that, what are they accountable to? No one, right?
Well, actually, it wouldn't have been Twitter's fault. That would have been the curator of the Twitter account at the Associated Press.
No, I'm talking about, I'm going to see if I can get a picture of it, but
okay.
Same thing happened. I mean, you saw as much as a 2% decline when Trump tweeted the other day that he was ordering Republicans to stop COVID relief talks, right?
Okay, what'd you say?
My point is, the same thing happened when Trump legitimately tweeted out that he really is telling his people to stop moving forward with talks. We saw as much as, 2%, 1.3, 1.6%, respectively, right? I don't know. I'm not afraid of this correctly, but it bothers me the fact that, there are people that can get in a Twitter account and just tweet something out. Elon Musk did this. Remember when Elon Musk and he just tweeted something out and tanked the stock of Tesla?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you can say it's not that much different.
But that's the idiotic groupthink of all the investors.
That is how powerful Twitter is, though. It literally moves the market up and down.
Oh yeah,
at a second's. And
well, that's because it harnesses groupthink and the idiocy of mobs. That's all. It's the idiocy of mobs that actually tanks the stock market. It's just that Twitter makes the idiocy of mobs a lot more effective, a lot faster.
But still, why would that affect the stock market? That's what I understand.
Because investor confidence is a lot of what, we all like Tesla stock, not because it's the only solar company out there, not because it's the only battery company out there.
So, it is now just Tesla, right? There isn't a...
Yeah, it's not just Tesla Motors. There's all kinds of Tesla.
No, but he used to actually
products.
have a standalone solar company, and he folded it into Tesla.
So it's like Tesla stock, half of the value of Tesla stock is not because it makes more batteries. There's plenty of, avant-garde battery manufacturers out there. It's not because he's the only electric car manufacturer. It's the coolness and the credibility and the knownness. I don't even know what the correct word for that is, but the cool factor of Tesla, I swear, is 40% of its stock value. And when that coolness tanks, you could expect a 40% dip in its stock value.
Someone described it as like the what was it? Like the ethos of Elon Musk is what you're buying into. You're not buying a car. You're like buying into Elon Musk.
Yeah, you're buying into the Elon Musk
future. Yeah.
Like you're buying into the fact that there should be these billionaire princes, just like there was in the Rockefeller days, that would have more money than government and be more competent than the government and could build satellites better than NASA.
People used to be so rich they could independently fund invasions of countries.
Yeah.
There probably is some
Well, they
people still that
could.
rich. No, but I used to be like not that crazy of an occurrence. Like some like rich, like they'd be like kings or whatever, but like some rich guy who like conquered lands would just like privately fund invasions of other countries.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know.
So look at this.
I don't know.
Here's an interesting comment that I wanna interject from Ramon Medina. He says, I used to work in a hedge fund, and I can confirm that you can predict the emotional swings of my multimillionaire boss based on how the S&P 500 was performing for the day. Yeah, and then his emotion goes down, and then he freaks out, and he starts acting more conservatively, which just makes everybody else wonder, so why is that hedge fund acting conservatively? What do they know that they wouldn't know? That we're going to pull back all our assets, and we're going to rein things in. And then all of the companies are just like, wait, why aren't the buyers buying our stocks? Oh, wait, do they know something that we don't? Oh, then we better make. And it's just this big, massive groupthink based on one dude who started, just like in Jurassic Park, where he says, like, the beating of the wings of a butterfly in Asia can cause a hurricane, somewhere in Florida. It's the exact same thing. You're just measuring the groupthink of a bunch of rich people that at the end of the day is really not tied to much.
Well, how about this also, though? Like, do you think part of it, to get back to social media, comes from social media accelerating the news cycle?
Yeah.
For example, the market...
There's no news cycle. There's just news then,
I guess you're right.
Now.
Because, for example, what it looks like now that the dust is settled, what Donald Trump was doing was... I'm not saying I approve it or disapprove it. Just, this is the reality of it. Excuse me. He tweeted out that he was ending the stimulus talks to kind of redirect attention to him. Basically, he took full responsibility for the stimulus talks, and then he said, now I want Nancy Pelosi to pass $1,200 checks right now. That's it. Just a bill with that.
See, he should have said that
first. And he's basically but what I'm saying is, because of the way the news cycle works, he did it for 2 days. Again, you can argue if it was good, bad, or stupid or not. Like, that's just what he did. Because of the way the cycle works, there's about 40 hours or 20 hours or so where it's just, he's ending all talks, they're done. Mark it down. And then by the time it's been 24 hours later, it's the reality of what was panning out. And again, this happens in multiple things. This happens when you see a lot of this stuff happen where it's like, it happens to everybody, where everyone freaks out about something, and then like a day later, what the reality of it passes. I mean, to the point you said of depending on how the S&P 500 was doing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do big time like hedge fund people, do they sell all their stock at the end of the day and then buy it back?
No.
I get that it's not good that it's down, but
yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm assuming they tell their clients
what they
you don't lose till you sell. I don't know why they don't have that same attitude.
They don't want to.
I don't want that same energy when it happens to them, right?
Yeah, well, they don't want to be the ones that are stuck with the stock at the lowest. So they'll sell out when it's going down if they don't think there's a good recovery plan. And they're always thinking short-sightedly, and they all want to make their money back within 18 months. They're not doing like this long 10-year plan. Like if you look at, for example, stock in GE. Like stock in GE is just like, might as well be freaking banknote. You know what I'm saying? You look at the S&P 500, it didn't exist until recently, but like you look at the stock market in general in the United States of America, and there's never really been a 20 or 30 year period in which stocks have not increased what one could consider drastically in America. Okay, so when looked at holistically from afar, a bird's eye view, stocks are a really, really good idea. But then there's people that aren't content with that average 7% growth. And they're wanting to make 14, they're wanting to make 20, they're wanting to make 23. So they're constantly just trying to find just that biggest, fastest way of doing things. It's unsustainable. I think there's a reason why they're all, on cocaine in Wall Street. But
are you telling me that some people that are essentially gambling addicts also get involved in the stock market? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, most definitely.
Especially with the prevalence of being able to trade from home very easily with no middlemen at all. You just get to gamble your money.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny that we're talking about this, though, and how Twitter affects real life. To be honest with you, I think if there ever were a better argument that Donald Trump could tone down the tweets was this debate with Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. Everybody I talked to that's still a relatively independent person that watched it said, yeah, Like, she basically thought she would land punches by saying, "Oh, I'm talking and you're mansplaining," like, you know, all these other insinuations and the eye rolls. Like, she looked like kind of a woman who was trying to keep in the crazy, while he looked like a restrained individual that knew what he was talking about, who was trying to be respectfully restrained and was the bigger man, the smarter man, the more intelligent solutions candidate, so on and so forth. So this is what Trumpism would look like if Donald Trump weren't stealing the spotlight. I think he should just let Pence should let Pence go out there and do more talking for him.
Dude, Kamala is... I understand people have to say certain things in the media for reasons. Kamala's literally never come across as likable at any big-time public media thing she's ever done. She didn't come across as likable to Democrats literally 7 months ago. I don't know why. I don't know why. But she wasn't likable to Democrats when she ran for president, literally in the cycle, and flamed out spectacularly. She's just not likable, period.
Are you saying that she
to anyone for any reason? Now, I understand if you got to support the team, you got to support the team. You got to do what you got to do. I'm not going to like, whatever, man, is what it is. But like, to people who don't got to support the team, she almost always comes across as just like not good.
Are you saying she's the Sarah Palin of the Democrat Party right now? Because Sarah Palin...
You could argue a little bit. There's people that just kind of had to defend Sarah Palin. I mean, but a little bit different. It's just, like, think about it.
But also, Sarah Palin didn't bring a ton of... She brought some popularity from the Tea Party, but she only brought like 2 electoral votes. May not have been the best decision.
Beyond that, it's just Kamala's just attitude. It's a way of alienating people. She's not an attitude problem. It's just the way she does things. I could see why it might work when you're the attorney, you're the prosecutor, you're the state, right?
And it works with the resistance crowd.
Like, it might work better when you literally are above whoever you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But, like, when you're on, like, level footing with someone, it's just kind of like, it just comes across as like, wow. Like, dude, like, I don't want to get to it, but, like, there was multiple times during the primary debates where I'm just like, God, like, why? And guess who else felt like that? Democrat voters in this election cycle felt like that when they're like, God, this Kamala's awful. I'm going to support Joe Biden instead. I don't know. Not to get too lost in that. It's just like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like Kamala was ever this big, sympathetic, popular figure. It's just now people have to support her whether they like it or not. It's the only difference.
See, you know what's so interesting, Cody, is you and I argued about this. I said they're going to choose Kamala. I said that. And you and I had a huge argument about this in a live stream 6 months ago. And I said, look, you're always calling me a right-wing SGW. It's because I know how the SJWs think. It's going to be Kamala for one of the top 2 positions. Guaranteed. And I ended up being right. And I had my reasons.
I had too much respect for the Democratic Party at that point.
Yeah.
I figured, no way they'll just pick somebody who nobody likes for stupid identity reasons.
But you know,
there's no way they do that. They have to pick somebody that's the very least popular with Democrats, right?
Yeah. But strategically, this is my question for you. Now that they have done it, you have to logically think, I said they're going to pick Kamala because it's all on the left. It's all about race and identity right now. And she's got the race. She's got the identity. She's got the gender.
Voters, though. I get that
no, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think it is
journalists.
for voters, but it's for the Twitterati. And they control everything. The media, the Twitterati controls what the media says. And the media is afraid of the Twitterati. And the politicians are afraid of the Twitterati. So the blue check marks in the media and all these boomers that sent their kids off to all these schools to go learn and then just got brainwashed by Marxist professors and cultural leftists, all right, are now all 20 and 30-year-old professionals in the workplace. I know. I went to college. Okay, so...
You went to Mormon college, though.
Yeah, but it's still college. I still had to take sex and gender, which is like freaking crazy. But anyway, yeah, no, go look up the book Sex and Gender. It's like literally man-hating 101. So anyway, all I'm saying is that I knew they were going to pick her because I know how they knee-jerk think emotionally. But now that it's done and it's official, how do you pitch Kamala Harris as a better alternative to the people? Like, how do you do that?
Dude, okay, I just want to remind people of the reality of this election. She's the yellow line, right? At one point, right here, you can see, she literally for a couple days in the aggregate polling was behind Bernie Sanders by 0.2%. for second place within like a month or within 2 months, 3 months, she had bottomed out to single digits and was trailing Pete Buttigieg. and eventually would drop out. Like I want to look at this, right? December 15th, 2019. I want to read through the list of people that were polling ahead of Kamala Harris. December 14th of 2019. We had Tulsi Gabbard, Amy Klobuchar, Andrew Yang, Michael Bloomberg, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. You want to say, hey, he said it was going to be a woman. He said it was going to be a woman. We had Tulsi Gabbard and Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren. Okay, maybe not Tulsi. We had Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren. It just... Seeing that debate last night, for a while I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I guess they picked her. It is what it is. But seeing that debate last night made me remember. I'm like, oh yeah, what the hell? Kamala's awful. No one likes her.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Right? She doesn't actually win.
I forgot. She loses to Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar outlasts. She didn't lose to Amy Klobuchar, but she loses to Pete Buttigieg. I forgot that. Overtime, Pete Buttigieg beats Kamala Harris.
Well, don't you remember that Andrew Yang was higher than her in that poll that
in
we
that
did?
one California poll? But I mean, like
in the one California poll,
before she
Andrew
dropped
Yang
out,
was...
I believe Pete had overtaken her, or like was just about to, from her all-time high. Like over the course of the cycle, like she legitimately did lose out to Pete. Like
so,
Pete
like, what are they
gaining,
gonna
she
do?
kept falling.
Because I got to tell you.
Or Pete restabilized.
Donald Trump's getting over this coronavirus thing and doing his 10 to 14 day quarantine. All right? He's doing it. And 10 to 14 days from now, we're still before election day. All the haters are going to show up early. But, I mean, only a certain percentage of the population will vote by election day. And I got to tell you right now, I've said this multiple times on the podcast, so I'm not going to repeat it again. But I can't work November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Because I get so many calls from people say, yo, Cardinal, who should I vote for, bro? Because everybody postpones this, whether they're absentee ballot voters, whether they're vote in the booth voters, no matter who it is, they all postpone. They all wait till the last minute because we're humans who always wait till the last minute. And they all call me November 4th. They all call me November 3rd. They're probably going to be calling me November 5th and 6th. Now you're allowed to ballot harvest and everything, right? You know, but at the end of the day, all of this silly, I'm in quarantine is going to be over with a couple weeks from now. And people are going to actually start paying attention. I know people that don't start looking into the platforms and Googling candidates until like 2 or 3 days before the election. And these are the ones that feel their civic duty is to actually know who they're voting for. So if a large percentage of these people, can you pull up percentages of what percentage of people actually vote or turn in their ballots or actually participate in the process?
I believe there was roughly 100 million votes in 2016, right?
Yeah, so I'd like to see how many people do it in the last week of the election. Turn in their absentee ballot votes or else just go to the
For every
polls.
other election before this, voting on election day was like the norm. Like that was the brunt, always voting on election day.
but we could glean stats of like how many people turn in their absentee ballot votes, like literally the week of.
Like most people probably did. That was very normal for voting, dude. Like
yeah, exactly. So I'm saying
you're trying
that
to get at how many people had
all
made
these
up
normies
hadn't made up their mind before then, though. That's a different question.
Yeah,
right?
but think about this, Cody. Like, what's going to happen?
But it was 138 million voted total.
Yeah, well, this is why I'm asking what's going to happen. I was right about they're calling Kamala Harris, and they're going to make her one of the top two. And the same gut feeling that I have is telling you what I'm telling you right now. And what I'm telling you right now, Cody, is that in the last 7 to 10 days before the election, when people actually start tuning in and asking questions, so they can fill out their ballots the last 5 to 6 days of the election to turn it in the last 1, 2, or 3 days of the election. In that period of heightened awareness, they will start studying things out. And what will they realize? They know nothing of Joe Biden other than he's old, he's going to die, he says really crazy, stupid stuff. I've seen the memes. And okay, well, what's the other side? Well, I know I hate Trump, but I want to vote for Biden. But what for? And in the lack of proving himself as a better alternative, they will default to Donald Trump.
Sure.
A lot larger percentage than we like to admit will. And anybody that starts researching it is going to be like, what?
Same thing will go both ways. There'll be people who at the same time will follow the same conclusion. Dude, I don't know why everyone needs to be reminded of this, I guess.
Normies work.
In almost every election, by and large, right? These last few, they're pretty damn close. Was Gore Bush not pretty damn close?
I'd say down to what, 700 votes, wasn't it, or something like that? Yeah.
Trump Hillary looked kind of big in electoral college, but as far as like Trump barely won states, is that not pretty damn close? Is it not almost like roughly half of the voting public feels one way, and then roughly half of the voting public feels the other, and really they're fighting for like a few percent.
And they're fighting for enthusiasm over their candidates to drive out their base.
I guess, but
and Joe Biden doesn't have an enthusiastic base. He has really vocal Trump haters on his side. That's what he has.
Well,
but he doesn't have an enthusiastic base. How many Joe Biden signs do you see around town?
It's not very enthusiastic, but there is people who like Biden.
I saw more. You have a very wise saying. You say, well, who wins the yard sign test? And be honest, Cody, how many Biden-Harris signs have you seen spread out all over liberal Southern California? How many Biden-Harris ticket signs have you seen in comparison to Hillary Clinton signs?
I did see more Hillary stuff.
A lot more Hillary stuff.
I remember it was like maybe midway. It was before I remember any of the 2016 election nonsense really starting, and there was somebody at the end of my street who had this Hillary sticker, and it was like it must have been like
the Ready for Hillary pack before she'd even declared.
Yeah. It was like people were down. I
was turning left onto the 101 freeway when I saw my first.
It was her time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting that from Biden people. I'm not getting it's his time. You know, people say don't underestimate how much people hated Hillary, but don't underestimate how people. Dude, Hillary had a cult of personality. Like those people screaming and crying when she lost weren't just because Trump won. Like there was people who loved Hillary. There really was. Like so, the idea that like everyone hated Hillary, even her voters, is like kind of a joke. Like, people didn't like Hillary at the time.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But I got to tell you, man, I think you're right. One half of America has been convinced of all the sound bites.
People just feel different ways
that the left puts for them.
Differently.
No. I believe most Americans are 90% similar. I still believe most Americans are 90% similar, but half of them have been convinced that the 90% of those values that they share that are good, common, decent human values, not left or right values, just human values. That's the liberalism in me talking. You know, like literally, you can have a guy give $1 to a homeless person, and if he is a conservative, he will say, "Oh, that's just my good conservative Christianity talking." And then you can have a leftist soccer mom, Katie Hill supporter, go give $1 to a homeless person and say, "Oh, that's just my liberalism talking." Like both of them will complete the exact same action, thinking that's the proper thing to do to help somebody out that's down on their luck.
Different conclusions. That's the point, man.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying it was their inner goodness that drew them to offer that gift to the homeless guy. But one will be convinced that it's conservatism talking. Another will be convinced it's liberalism talking because one of those parties has been able to convince them that their inner goodness is actually conservatism or liberalism.
I guess, but like legitimately people feel different, dude. Are you a fan of The Big Bang Theory? Are you a fan of The Eagles? Are you a fan of
Eagles were a little bit before my time, but I like a couple of their songs.
There's a lot of stuff that's very popular, but even then, they're very popular with like 45% of Americans. That's pretty damn popular, but that's like the majority of people aren't that like. And I know it's kind of a little bit facetious, but dude, like legitimately, people just feel and see the world differently. They don't agree on things. I mean, look at religions. Why is there 5? Why is there so many?
I get that, but
how
what
many
makes
sects of Christianity exist? Because people are stupid, or because like people legitimately will just come to different conclusions?
Okay, but
different opinions.
But this is how you can predict. This is how you can predict the victor of a race. Okay, I get that people feel differently. So that's why we have to now address enthusiasm. Who's actually going to get off their duffs to vote? Okay, and the reason why the left is pushing mail-in ballot voting and trying to make it so simple is because they know that their candidate is not as enthusiastic. And here's the reason why. In 2016, why were conservatives actually finally convinced to get off their duff, even after they have showed that they were unenthusiastic about Romney? Conservatives did not vote for Romney.
Well, that's why. Because the Republican Party had... How does the average Trump voter feel about John McCain, right? And how does the average Trump voter feel about Mitt Romney? Like,
exactly.
Those were not.
So let me finish my thought
here.
Just let me finish my thought here. The reason why Mitt Romney lost was because conservatives were unenthusiastic about him. Had the same amount of people that voted for John McCain voted for Mitt Romney, he would have won the presidency. If just the same volume of numbers, but the same volume, we're not talking percentages, the same volume of voters did not come out for Mitt Romney because they were unenthusiastic about him, and that cost him the election.
He's Mormon.
So, no, it wasn't because he was Mormon, but it was because they were unenthusiastic about him, right? And he also lacked a soundbite. Why, in one sentence, should you have voted for Mitt Romney?
I don't remember what his platform was. I don't
You
remember.
don't- okay.
I don't remember what he was running.
Now, hold on.
for.
I'm going somewhere with this. In 2016, how did you pitch a conservative, the base of the Republican Party? Here was the pitch. Do you want the Supreme Court to go liberal for 40 years?
That's not it. No, the pitch.
Oh, dude, that was a massive pitch.
The by and large pitch was build the wall, lock her up. That was realistically
okay, fine.
the by and large pitch.
No, okay, well, whether you say it was save the Supreme Court or build the wall and lock her up,
Well,
at the end of the day, you just gave me
hold on.
3 sound bites, not just one.
So
Hillary
hold
Clinton
on.
did not
Wait.
have one.
Build the wall, lock her up. Those are sound bites. So what? He had no Supreme
She
Court.
had a Trump sucks.
No, my point was this. Like, dude, like, I agree, but like, if you can't-
Anti-campaigns always lose, Cody. And so who's got the anti-campaign right now?
Trump?
Joe Biden has the
No,
anti-campaign.
Trump, they both do. They both have anti-campaigns.
Well, this year,
Trump's
Trump,
campaign is Sleepy Joe stupid, and it's like
no,
Trump's-
and that is a weakness of his. Now, I don't think I think he's back. I don't know why he hasn't remarketed himself as save the Supreme Court again.
You
Because
made a good point, right? Imagine if Mitt Romney had owned the libs. You think he would have won?
yeah, seriously, he would have. He would have thrashed, dude. If he would have had some freaking teeth, if he would have had the teeth he had for Donald Trump, that he had for Donald Trump, like 2017, 2018, 2019, if he would have had the teeth he had for Trump against Obama, he'd be our motherfucking president right now, dude.
Like,
So
I
yeah,
used to be second term.
because he'd be
That'd
in his second term.
Would you want me? Hey, let me ask you now.
A
by
lot
the way,
more. Actually, I don't
Conservatives
know.
hate Mitt Romney now. They would love
Well,
for
yeah,
him to be
because
president
he's
now all of a
marching
sudden.
with like BLM
But
and
that's
like,
what I mean. Like all of a sudden now it'd be cool that he was president, even though you hate him. That doesn't make any sense.
yeah. So Diva J461 says, yeah, Trump lost his America First brand. It's hurting him big time. Yeah, and see, Pence got it back from a little bit. Pence actually was able to school.
Like literally the America First, like okay, hold on. This is what I think is interesting, and I think it's worth noting. Keeping an eye on if Biden wins. What you would actually call like the alt-right, like the legitimate, nationalist, more right-wing Trump supporters. In 2016, almost all of them don't like Trump now
Wait, what?
because they never delivered on any of the,
Say that again.
almost all of like the nationalists, really far right, like
Oh yeah,
alt-right
like
types,
all 40 or 50 of them. Okay.
None of them like Trump now because they didn't deliver on any.
Yeah, the
of
people
that
with like
stuff.
7 profiles on Twitter that make it look like
Not
there's
even
200
that.
of them.
Speaking of the America, like the Nick Fuentes of the
Yeah,
world.
the Nick
like
Fuentes.
the literal like America
The
First.
Ann Coulters.
The America First packs of the world, dude. I remember during the height of the immigration crisis. Now, all these people are partisans and they own libs and try to puff up Trump, but they all just. My only point I'm trying to get to is I wonder how much you'll see of that from the Biden camp. It exists in everything where like you just say BS during the election to court certain voters and then just tell them to screw off, right? But dude, I remember Ann Coulter had a tweet during the migrant crisis, which is the immigration area,
Yeah.
where she said that it was like a quote tweet of like how immigration numbers or illegal immigration numbers are higher. And she said, it literally couldn't have been worse if Hillary Clinton was
if
president.
Hillary Clinton were president.
I'll always remember that one. It's like, yeah, like that wing, like the build the wall wing of. Remember when they literally crowdfunded their own wall because they were unhappy with it?
Yeah.
That's all gone now. Maybe it'll get some of the enthusiasm of people is gone. Like, I don't. And then, by the way, what's it called? Turning Point USA, the other kind of like that corporate-y the conservative ink wing Trump brought in to his party to kind of sterilize and clean up from like the more America First kind of like nationalist wing of it.
Okay.
A bunch of them are getting banned because the Charlie Kirks of the world are a bunch of idiots. They're getting banned off Facebook for making like fake accounts to boost up their profiles and like working with BS marketing firms. Like,
Okay.
That is a very
Charlie Kirk got busted for that?
Here's the thing. Turning Point, I believe, which is
Okay.
is he at a turning point now? Anyway, the larger point is that like this is something the media doesn't talk about because the media just to go like the Cheeto man is Hitler, but like there is a lot of like actual base issues that Donald Trump, I don't even call them issues, maybe he's courted more voters' sense, but like there is actual base losses he has had over the few years, or enthusiasm losses. I mean, speaking of like the Nick Fuentes, the America First people of the world, they literally had a competing conference to CPAC this year.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll still vote Trump, but it's a different attitude.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that stuff does get glossed over by the media because too many people in the media are bruised ego morons who have to get in like slap fights with people. But if you just look at it objectively, it's like, yeah, like there is definitely certain. Hey, how about this? Richard Spencer endorsed Joe Biden, right? Like I don't think he endorsed Hillary Clinton. He wasn't a Clinton voter in 2016. I mean, like there literally is a certain wing of that.
Can you believe
that 2016 Trump machine that is gone now? They have Trump did not deliver anything to them, which is good in a lot of senses, right? Anybody was hoping Trump would be like a white, like he didn't deliver any of that to these people, so they'll hate him now. But yeah, like that's also just like worth highlighting. I don't know why it doesn't get. I mean, I do know why. It's because it doesn't fit into the ego of the journalists. But yeah, those are legitimate things that these people that consider themselves big time Trump supporters, content creators, Twitter people, journalists, like a bunch of that stuff is like moved on now. Where they've said Trump didn't deliver for us enough.
Okay,
but he did. You know where Trump has got major gains.
Dude, the court.
I've said this over. No. As far as demographics, not demographics.
Oh, Latinos.
Spaces. No.
African American community and Latinos.
What else?
Inuit Indians.
I mean, I say this as somebody who just pays attention to this stuff. I knew Donald Trump was going to win the primary in 2016 for the Republicans when he said he was going to move the embassy. Just because there was a very large, wealthy, influential wing of pro. It's not even Jewish, but pro-Israel people.
Oh yeah,
in the Republican Party, and it was like Trump just outflanked every other Republican in Israel, and it was like, well, there was protests in Brooklyn last night with Orthodox Jews protesting, waving Donald Trump flags. Did you see this? I want to see if I can pull the video up for you. Yeah, look at this, dude.
Yeah, look at that.
I mean, like this. By the way, shout out to Jorge Ventura, who's from our own local area here. Actually, worked at the same place temporarily. So he works for Daily Caller. Say what you want for Daily Caller. Whatever. Shout out to Jorge. I'm glad, happy for him. Seems to be doing well. I'm Melanated Scope. $5 super chat. So what's up, guys? Been a while. Y'all are going heads up with football now, dude. Nowadays, hope you're all good. Sending love. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, dude. It's been great having football back, hasn't it? It's been great having football back. But yeah, just look how crazy this is. Like, literally with I mean, it's not crazy because like Jews like Trump, but it's like look at like a protest with Donald Trump signs out like this. They're dancing. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's definitely not the kind of sight. Now, a big reason this is happening, and this too, I wonder as well what this will kind of factor into kind of like the way elections span across the country now. I've heard from some people.
Now that's a hat right there.
There's a lot of people that are moving over to voting Trump because they see that they're being. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. The way Cuomo and Bill De Blasio are treating the Jewish community in New York.
Oh, it's crazy.
What man? I don't know.
It would be literal anti-Semitism in 1930s.
It's pretty crazy.
You know,
it is weird. It's not.
You can't go to your synagogues. That literally sounds like a bad translation. Of some National Socialist brown shirt.
Allegedly, the state or the city has been sending like observers into like different Jewish areas to like observe if they're like gathering properly and if they aren't. It's like, dude, that like you're not allowed to send government observers into religious areas to make sure they're like worshiping within guidance. You know, Anyway, it's been a whole thing. But my major point is, realistically, Cuomo and De Blasio being unfriendly to the Jewish community has nothing to do with the presidential election. Yeah. But now because all election, like all politics are national now and local, like simultaneously. Yeah. You're seeing where it's like it makes sense to say Cuomo and De Blasio are locking us down. Well, we're going to bring Trump flags out when we protest then. Yeah. And the inverse, right? You see the inverse where it's like, you know, local government's doing stuff we don't like. We're going to bring Biden or whatever. I guess no one brings Biden flags. They bring like protest flags out to protest. Yeah. You see my point? Like
Antifa flags.
It's interesting how it's like everything gets just like transposed onto whatever the next issue of the day is, you know?
I agree with you that all politics are local. I mean, sorry, it's no longer the era of all politics are local. It's the era of all politics are national.
Yeah.
I mean, what other reason does a local beef that a New York synagogue has with their mayor? I mean, not even their state assemblyman, not even their state senator, their mayor. We're talking like 5 levels removed. There's president, then there's Senate, then there's House of Representatives, then there's the state assembly, then there's the state Senate. So the 6th level of government below the president is what they're going after. Actually, if you counted the county, the 7th level down of government is what they're protesting, yet they're bringing the Trump flag. Because, I mean, I think that's part culture war. I think that's part sidism, but what else are you going to do, though?
Yeah, it's like an FU. Yeah, but it's just funny. See,
yeah, what else are you going to do?
Everything eventually becomes like a national issue, no matter how personal, like to your point, it becomes national.
All politics are national.
Which is not good, by the way.
Oh, no, it's horrible. It's
ultimately
toxic.
Really bad, yeah.
Yeah, it's horrendously toxic. And, but it's just factual. It's the way it is.
Just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
No, that's crazy. It's a little tangent, but we're going to be wrapping up soon here.
Is that Jeff Bezos, dog?
It's Jeff Bezos.
What is that?
That's just Bezos.
Who is that?
I thought that was like the Taj Mahal or whatever. I don't think it is, but it's something. It's some big thing.
He's got a new girlfriend or what?
I believe it's his former mistress.
Oh, okay.
This was posted in an article from Forbes mentioning how Jeff Bezos has become the first whatever billionaire. He's like one of the first people to be whatever rich.
Yeah.
And I like how they posted this picture. That's after he lost half of his net worth because he cheated on his former wife with his mistress, who he's pictured with.
Is that just a good picture, or is she actually really pretty?
I only lost a lot of money, but after that, although it's billionaire wealth, it's 10 trillion for the first time ever. I think they mentioned in here. Jeez. Jeff Bezos' net worth crossed the 200 billion, I believe is what they mean, mark.
Jeez. He's the world's first ever 200 billion.
Well, I don't know, but anyway.
Jeez.
Point being is, I think it's funny how he was the world's first $200 billionaire. Sorry, you're right. But it's hilarious too. You think that's after he gave away half his money to his ex-wife because he cheated on her with his mistress pictured. How insane is that, dude? But by the way, though, it's also how money, once you get to like a big enough amount of money, it just becomes like funny money. It's just like,
it's not real. It's like you can.
It's literally just theoretical numbers that they like attribute to wealth.
Well, you couldn't even spend it all if you tried.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think the best way I ever heard it described was like, imagine having a $5 million gift card to like Target or Best Buy. Like, you just run out of things to buy, Yeah. I guess I could buy every single flat screen. Cool, that's $500,000. And it's like, okay,
yeah, exactly.
I'm running out of things to buy here, man.
Well, see, I would have just bought the Target itself. And actually, no, you know what I would do, honestly, if I had that much money? I would literally start buying land in Africa from the most corrupt country that would sell it to me and just create my own country that ran by the Constitution before it was corrupted by the 14th Amendment, which made it so that the senators weren't elected by the congressman. I can't remember. I don't know, but I would literally take an originalist approach to the Constitution. I would buy enough land that I could actually create my own country, start its own army, purchase whatever military tech was necessary, and I'd be like a United Arab Emirates, but just totally pro-capitalist, good environmental legislation.
You know what you got to do?
What?
You got to move to Senegal because my man, Akon, doing that right now. I don't like that they mentioned that.
Akon, the pop star behind hits like Smack That.
Come on, that's disrespectful. He's masterminding a $6 billion smart city in Senegal, backed by a shadowy. That's why I don't like this stuff. Come on, Akon's a good guy. Inside Akon City, where life will be fun. But listen to this. So, Akon is moving forward with plans to build a $6 billion sustainable smart city in Senegal called Akon City. The Senegalese American singer said the 2,000-acre futuristic metropolis would include a luxury resort, condos, offices, a hospital, a stadium, and an artificial intelligence data center. Residents will pay for everything with his cryptocurrency, a coin. The project's main financial baker is a Kenyan entrepreneur with a mysterious past. Whatever. And Akon said
drugs.
The city would empower Africa's youth, but few details have been released on community involvement in Akon City, which has tapped a Los Angeles construction firm and an architect from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. That's the gist of it. We can go through more.
Dude, how'd you
of the
find out that
specifics.
Akon was building his own city?
Because I'm interested in it and I like Akon. I love Akon. You know why? A lot of celebrities talk about like doing whatever and doing this and we're gonna get back. Akon has basically put his money where his mouth is forever. Like you'll notice he was a really big star for a while. You haven't seen him as much. He's been doing crypto, but like he literally just like goes around the world and like tries to help people. From all I've seen.
Yeah.
Like he'll just go to like Senegal where he's from and like these different countries and like set up organizations and try to do stuff. Like he isn't someone who just sits around and like things should be better. Akon's like, well, I'm wealthy. I'm gonna go try to make things better for people.
Well, rock on. That's good to hear.
He's always seemed very proactive about what he's doing, and yeah, I'm always that's why I'm always down with. That's why I've always been following the Akon City stuff. I might have to buy a coin once I feel.
I didn't realize he was that wealthy. I mean, I knew he was successful, but
it's with investor. He's not all his money. He's mostly
I saw that it was investor, but still, you got to be putting down some serious coin more than just your name.
He got invested in crypto along with Brock. God, what's his name? The guy who used to be in Mighty Ducks who's running for president. Actually, Akon's like his part of his campaign, or like endorsed him or something. They just got involved. People who got involved in cryptocurrency at a certain time with a certain bankroll were able to just do funny, make the numbers go ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying. So is the era of Bitcoin over with, bro?
No, but it's been hitting a
It's flatlined a little bit.
Well, no, I mean it's not because stuff's going on, but like it definitely is calm. Like there was the delirium of like what was that December of 2016, where it was just like delirium, and it was like. That was when John McAfee said he'd like eat his own penis if it didn't pass like $100,000. Just crazy. That's over. But not crypto's always going to exist. Crypto's like it has a role and it's probably going to start surging again at some point. It's just like that.
So what is the major role of Bitcoin?
Like cryptocurrencies
because the thing
general,
that sucks about Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies is its ability to convert into tangible dollars in the regular workplace. Like I can't go buy a candy bar with Bitcoin. I can't go pay my utility bill with Bitcoin. I know that if I'm a hacker and I want to build a website, I would love to get paid in Bitcoin.
Like that's like a temporary issue, right? Like that can be solved. Like they've had Bitcoin ATMs. Like
they've tried making those in New York, but they never went anywhere. There was the one on Wall Street that opened up, and Rand Paul was there and everything. But
if like the idea of like transferring it's an issue, but the larger point is the reason why it hasn't gone away. Because using it practically as a currency is an issue. As a store of wealth, I guess it works just fine, right? Because you're not using it to transfer; it's just a store of wealth. But now, the big thing is just like the decentralization aspect and the fact that it's kind of a currency. It's like, for example, there almost is kind of like and correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, if you know more cryptocurrency than me, you probably do. I don't know a lot, but because of the way cryptocurrency is kind of generated and the way they do it with whatever terms they use, it almost isn't a way backed by a standard.
Well, the standard is the blockchain.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the big difference is, so it's decentralized and backed by some kind of standard as opposed to most currencies now, which are just backed by just the government says they're good for it. Yeah,
the government says they're good for it.
And they can print, the Federal Reserve literally could just print as much money as they want forever. They've said as much.
Yeah.
Like we can just conjure the money out of it. They didn't print it anymore. It's just numbers on a screen.
And you need to believe us that all those barrels of oil are worth as much as 100 of these. You know what I'm saying?
So those are kind of like the big differences. So it's like there is issues right now currently with transferring it and practically using it easily. But like there's the upsides of having it be decentralized, not through all the big banks, and also being kind of in a way, like I don't think it's literally, but like in a way backed, like in a way like there's something that it represents that does take time and energy to create. So there's kind of so there we go.
Okay.
You
got to finish your sentence.
That's why like it's something that you will see steadily rise, but then people will get delirious and you know what? Everything gets ruined when the gamblers find it, but not the gamblers. What's even worse, the delusional gamblers, the people who are, I'm not addicted to gambling. I just like I'm like a big time stock trader, and like I love people. There's people who probably insist they're not addicted to gambling, and I swear to God, I mean no offense. Like I'm not addicted to gambling. I'm just big into like collectible, like baseball trading cards and like the stock market and like things that things with a kind of like chase mechanic to it, where it's I could get the good one,
Yeah.
Like man, like sure, it's not gambling, but like. I don't know. What is it called when you buy a pack of baseball cards for $5 because you hope when you open it inside there'll be a card worth more money?
Oh, well.
Is that like buying a $5 scratcher
If you
that
do it once,
hoping the scratcher will be worth $15?
Yeah, but here's the difference, though. Here's the difference, though. Is the reason why
the worthless cards I throw in the garbage? Yes, that's the difference.
No, but also that there's a creation of jobs there. There's the continuity of see, the difference between investing in a company hoping that you'll get increased returns afterwards is you're putting back into society instead of just putting into a bank. Like when you buy a lotto card, you just gave $5 to a lifeless bureaucracy that has created no jobs, will benefit nobody, and will just suck 28% of everything it gains as taxes out away for the hope of getting $5 billion back.
But what if I burn my gambling addiction on like free to play anime phone games where I just want the highest powered anime character?
Well, then you're just wasting your time.
Dude, that exists as well. I don't know.
That's just a waste of time.
But that's what worries me is that, like, we know gambling is addictive and it can be dangerous. Like, we have, like, hotlines. Like, I'm pretty sure, like reputable news organizations have to, like, include the gambling hotline number when they talk about gambling, right? Like, it's, like, a thing. But only in the very narrow view of what we used to consider gambling. All the new ways we gamble, like in phone apps, like trading cards... The market's always been a gamble, but the way you can just kind of play the market on your phone through Robin and stuff, you can't just gamble basically on this now. Like, well, I think I'm going to, like, you see what I mean? Like, not all playing the market's gambling is not what I'm saying, but, like, there is, like, this kind of gamified gambling element to it that's being promoted. Famously, the FIFA video games, the NBA 2K video games, the Madden video games in Europe are like literally being sued for gambling. Famously, the recent NBA 2K game, its earliest trailers were literally like a roulette wheel spinning. Like, you could win the big prize. Like, it's just gambling.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's like if you're not like at a table and if you're not like in a slot machine or like a musty pool room with like a cigar, it's like, well, it's not gambling.
Yeah.
But it's like, what the hell, man? Like, dude, how about this? I can't go to DraftKings or FanDuel on my phone and make sports bets, but I could bet $5 on my fantasy team for the week. Why does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't want to get one of my other.
Well, it's the reason why I'm an anti-vice guy. Like you're always like, I would like, outlaw pornography and I would outlaw prostitution and I would But see, I look at it as the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. I don't gamble myself. It does not. I'm not attracted to it, but you got to have it legalized so it can be regulated properly, not excessively regulated, not under-regulated, but it needs to be legalized. If not, then it's just driven underground where it's even more dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, gambling needs to be legalized so that people aren't just doing these fake pseudo addiction rushes.
No, but that's not what I'm saying.
From their Japanese anime free.
I'm not saying gambling's good, actually. My point is that I just wish there was a greater cultural acknowledgement that like this idea of like chasing like, dude, because there's people with like that same, because like gambling isn't a thing in your brain, you know? It's like that reward, like that chase thing. People who buy Pokemon cards are basically gambling addicts because they're buying the cards like, come on.
Well, no. There's some people that actually like playing the game, but there's people that buy pallets of them and they want to see if they can get the rare one.
There's people who...
It's like mining for gold.
Not even that, dude. There's people like from Magic the Gathering, for example.
Yeah.
They literally were like just speculators. They'd like look at the upcoming release sets and they'd say, I'm looking at these sets. I don't see cards that are going to be valuable here, but I see cards that are going to be valuable in this set. So I'm going to buy pallets of this set. I'm going to open them. I'm going to get those cards. Basically, it's like those cards are like mini, they're kind of like, they're almost like a very simplified form of stock, right? With like, I think these cards will be in the format for a while. I think they're going to be useful in meta decks, so I don't want to get too in the deep. But my point is, like, you see, like, we'll get into all these weird reasons why. But yeah, at a certain point, but that's more big business. But like, phone apps is a better example of this. Like, there's little phone apps where like they're literally just playing on the same gambling mechanics slot machines play on you. The only difference is they don't even pay out money. They just give you digital characters that are like different colors and stuff. But like, there's this idea that because like, oh, well, because you can't win any money back, you can only lose it. It's not a big deal. Like, just whatever. And I don't like that. I think there should be a greater focus on like, hey, like, just understand what's going on here. Like, if you find yourself in that situation where like you're spending money to chase for a certain result to make you feel better, like, take a step back.
No, if it's about the
all
feeling,
these games do, all of them, man. It's like that. Like kids, 9-year-olds. Like a 9-year-old's brain's ready for that.
No, and that's why I don't know why they call them gamers. I would just call them losers.
Well, that's
You know what
not.
I'm saying? No.
That's not. But no, but that's not even something that's like inherently like that's something that wasn't really in video games to that degree anymore. The idea of putting money in, the idea of like maybe like jumping Mario up to get the good block. That's one thing, right? But like the idea of like there's a joke. There's an online card game called Hearthstone, right? And this joke exists in every card game, right? But there's a joke where you know what the most powerful card is?
Yeah.
The credit card.
Yeah.
Also, like, if you just brute force with money, you'll get the rare stuff. But
By the way, Mario de la Cabada wins the award because I was I was waiting to see how people react to that comment. He's like, wait, what? It was like, Garden gamers are going to rise up. Hey, Cody's been saying the same thing, dude. Cody's been saying
gamers
for
will rise
years.
up one day, yeah.
When gamers rise up, then it's over. Then it's over. The other problem is, I don't know. I think the passive video game lifestyle takes the fight out of you, Cody. I think to a certain extent it takes the fight out of you. I think it aids that gaming has helped us become more interconnected and more loving and more like viewing ourselves as a human family. Because if you made a bunch of buddies in North Korea that you're playing this, anti-terrorism game with, and you all get along and you're cool, like that shows there's that human element that we all have, and there really is a common ground that we can get along together. So I don't think gamers are going to save the world through active rising up.
Hey,
I think their disinterest in violence is what's going to help. They will be a cool cream in the hot coffee more than they will be a boilerplate underneath the coffee.
I'll say this. As far as like my experience seeing on TV actual Chinese citizens and Chinese residents just like being like just like as a part of a thing, it was video games through following the competitive Dota 2 circuit. A lot of those players were just Chinese. And it, and it wasn't like just like people that were like they were born in China but like they're Americans now. It's like no, it's people that literally live in China, like they don't even speak English. And it was that was one of the ways I was able to kind of really see kind of how they like in anything where you see anyone long enough, it's like, oh, like that's Chinese people are just Chinese people. The memes, jokes, the same as anyone else, right? Which is obvious, right? But I'm saying I don't see that in anything else. I do. I see it mostly in video games. I will say. So that's one of that's why gamers will rise, because they'll be like, hold on a minute.
So Matthew,
I know people all over the world because I'm a gamer.
So Matthew Ciaverdone, however you say it, says if Trump legalized weed and sports gambling, both of which I would do in a heartbeat. If Trump legalized weed and sports gambling, he would win in a landslide. Do you agree or disagree with Matthew?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
So why doesn't he?
Well, because like winning in a landslide and best for the country are two entirely separate things, right?
Wait, but you don't think sports gambling is bad for the country?
I don't know if snapping your fingers and legalizing both those things nationwide at once.
Wait, weed?
At the same time, I don't think would be good.
Oh, I would snap my fingers to legalize weed simply because I would want people to get the addictive personality types. I prefer to be addicted to weed, which won't compromise your driving, instead of alcohol, which will compromise your driving. So I view that as an immediate improvement on the amount of drunk driving deaths that we have. And then sports gambling. Oh yeah, totally. I'd do it because there's entire economies that can evolve. Now I think it should be regulated. Like you can only lose a certain amount per night or maybe like X, we'd have to put backstops involved so that, it wouldn't become a massive heinous vice. But at the end of the day, you got to have these vices legalized so that they're done out in the open instead of done in secret where they're even more destructive. It's just like prostitution, bro. It's got to be done out in the open where it can be regulated and observed.
I'm totally fine with prostitution being something people don't feel.
No, because then when the children get trafficked, think of it this way.
I guess I have no problem with that being something people don't feel comfortable doing in public. Anyway,
here. Oh, you got a super chat? Sorry.
I'm Melanie Scope. Thank you very much. $5. You said Cardin and Cody need to jump on Among Us and do a live gameplay. They can. Dude,
my son just downloaded that yesterday for his birthday present.
Yeah, do you want to play Among Us and stream one day?
I guess I will, sure, but I don't know how to play video games.
Dude, it's not even a video game. It's more like a board game.
Well, actually, I'd kill you on GoldenEye, but post N64,
it
my
literally
game
is like
skills
basically not a video game. It's more like a party game, like a drinking, not drinking. It's like a party game. It's like everyone sits around and talks game, but you move around. You can play it on your phone, dude.
Yeah, I saw that.
How about this? Someone said human trafficking, and again, it's just someone says. Someone says human trafficking occurs more in places where prostitution is legal than in places where it's illegal. Like I said, man, I'm totally fine if prostitution
That would completely change.
is never legal.
That
I'm
would
fine with
completely
that.
change.
Because I'll tell you what, right? Prostitution's illegal right now. And again, maybe decriminalize is a better way of putting it. Or rather, it wasn't like a big criminal offense they really prosecuted the prostitutes for. You got to go after pimps. But, like, dude, there's a bunch of, like, weird escort stuff they do right now currently. That's kind of like, you don't want to do
Like, it's
this
totally
stuff.
legal.
I'm about this, too. I'm also fine with states and municipalities and counties having different things legalized.
Yeah, totally.
I'm totally fine with prostitution being more or less kind of legal in like what is it like Nevada parts like what is
Yeah,
it, like
it's
the
Dayton County.
Yeah, well Dayton County is
Reno. Oh, no, sorry. No, Dayton County is Reno, Nevada. It's the county. You have to drive like 30 minutes out of Reno to get to the Bunny Ranch.
that's like whatever. I don't care about like
Yeah.
certain parts of the country doing it. I just same thing going to like legalizing gambling, and I would be fine with a nationwide gambling legalization immediately. I don't know if like
Hey, look, Sean Fitzsimmons says the divorce rate plunges when a country legalizes prostitution. We got to do this to save marriages, Cody. Like at this point, it's just a pro-nuclear family initiative. We're doing God's work. You know. Okay, this is a lot. Get all of your super chats out of your system. Any last burning questions? We're gonna have to wrap it up here pretty soon because I'm actually already late for a creative session I got to go to. But
oh, big guy.
yeah, Hectic Energy says, Cardin, do you feel the same quote free market with abortion? Remember, foster care results in 50% not grad high school, 25% jailed. Okay, Cardin, do you feel the same quote free market with abortion? No, I don't feel the free market about murder. So, no, I wouldn't say free market's the correct term to use there. But it says, remember, foster care results in 50%. If you're trying to talk about the abysmal foster care results, then you have to go after leftist secularism. I mean, seriously, the LGBT anti-Catholic adoption agency initiative of like the early 2000s made it so that in Los Angeles County, you can't why are all the celebrities getting these Russian babies, these African babies, these foreign babies, and so on and so forth? Because it's like nearly impossible to adopt a kid now in 2020 as compared to like 20 years ago. And why? In hushed whispers, they will all tell you, oh, because it became this big political football, and they all had to shut down. There's no LDS adoption agency anymore. There's no Seventh-day Adventist adoption agencies anymore. There's no Catholic adoption agencies anymore. So because churches and 501c3s used to aid the state in placing children because they felt it as like their Christian duty. Oh, but no, you're not doing the way we want to. So you're a bigot. And they all just shut down. So the numbers went into the tank. Okay, so go chase after the leftist secularists who destroyed the adoption industry when the numbers are bad, not free market capitalism. Because honestly, if free market capitalism took over adoption, the adoption rates would be like 95%.
That's actually what does happen.
It kind of takes over in the sense that you have to hire a lawyer in order to afford it. Yeah.
Planned Parenthood is like a for-profit
Yeah.
group, and I believe it's like they definitely. There's market incentives to what Planned Parenthood actually delivers.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't just do good.
There's a market
very
incentive.
Few things are out of the goodness.
No, there's a market incentive for leftist secularist feminism to say that you're an empowered female if you turn into a slut and sleep around. And when you get pregnant, no, forget contraception. But if you get pregnant, then there's a profitable abortion that will be paid off for by tax dollars. And by the way, you don't have to tell your parents because that's bigotry. But you have to tell your parents to go tanning, and they have to sign a waiver to go tanning.
What's your point?
Okay.
Then? What's the point?
There's an absolute market incentive to teach the bereft, morally degenerate
but
secular doctrine that they teach now, knowing that they can make money off the abortion afterwards.
Everything can't just be blamed on leftist secularism.
No, like 90% of it can.
Secularism.
Yeah.
Anyway, Matthew Schifferdoning. This is better than MSN Night. Take care, man. Thank you very much. But
okay.
no.
And Cake Batter says, "Great show. Thank you for the super chat, Cake Batter."
No, but like but dude, like this is actually why I agree very strongly with Tucker Carlson on this, is that we shouldn't just be like being crushed by the free market, like, yeah, but it's the market demands it. Like if the market is demanding things that are just net negatives to society, I agree. We need to address what the market is demanding. But that might always be what's most profitable. Honestly, I think one of the big problems in the media and social media world right now is the free market. The free market pushes these companies and incentivizes them into being partisan anger mills, really. Again, like I looked it up. The name of the journalist was Matt Taibbi from Rolling Stone. He did a lecture.
No, but we don't have free market capitalism in big tech because legislation prevents small companies from competing.
But the way media companies work, journalistic media companies work now, is they find this particular audience, right? Which, again, I don't care who says this. It's obvious if you live in this world. Major media companies find a particular audience, and they feed them what they want to hear. Yes. They don't want to confuse the audience by saying Obama's good, Obama's bad, Obama's good, Obama's bad, or Trump's good, Trump's bad, Trump's good, Trump's bad. It's just Trump's bad or just Trump's good. Obama bad, Obama good. Biden good, Biden bad. There's no back and forth, right? Like, because the market doesn't incentivize it. The market punishes it. The market says, if you step out of line and you stop feeding what feeding your customers what they want, if you start providing your customers a service they aren't asking for, there's plenty of other options in the market for them. So it really is incentivizing you to just gotta support team. I can't do the accent really good, but you know what I mean? Like That's where the market pushes these media companies. It pushes them to just finding a group of people and giving them what they want.
Okay.
So like that is a free market problem.
Yeah, but now
media.
Yeah, but see, right now I think that's swinging. How many people are getting rid of their social media? How many people are getting out of social media? I think that market demand is slowing down. It took time and it destroyed the millennials, but at the end of the day, I think the natural ebb and flow of humanity figuring out what spot social media has in our lives is going to autocorrect faster than a centrally planned government could correct it. Now, you're right. I think we need to legislate pure net negatives. For example, there should be no free market solution to murder. That needs to be legislated as wrong and prosecuted as such. For child trafficking, there's no free market solution except for which gun we choose to shoot these people with.
Here's the thing. Ironically enough, right? Like, isn't the fact that, human trafficking flourishes again because there's a market incentive for it? Like, people don't traffic humans because they're just so evil. They can't help it. It's because there's a market demand.
Yeah.
For the trafficking of humans. I mean, that's where it all comes from. Like no one just wakes up one day and says, I'm going to lose money trafficking humans for no reason because I'm just evil, right? Like, no, it's just they're willing to make money in immoral ways, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a bit black and white, right?
Yeah.
Human trafficking for money is bad, right? Whatever the market says about it, who cares? We can't allow it. But yeah, to your point, what if there is some things that might be damaging to society, but overall it's just like there's a big economic push towards it?
Then you stop it.
But how? You just tell people to stop, knock it off? Like
with the mighty and righteous hand
Remember
of
prohibition?
God.
How'd that go?
Well, see, here's the deal. With vices, it's different, and there's permissible gray area. So outlawing booze is bad because I don't think beer and wine are so horrible to be served at different settings and restaurants. But I definitely think there's a blood alcohol level, and you got to prosecute drunk driving. You know what I'm saying? And also, there's no reason we couldn't replace that drug with another less discapacitating drug like weed. If we're all social smokers instead of social drinkers, I think society would be a lot less dangerous.
It doesn't work that way, though.
Well, we got to go anyway. I'm late for this thing.
I'm just saying, we can wrap up here.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
A lot of people but it isn't like there's people that are like alcoholics who would have just been like big potheads if you took the bottle out of their hand and put the joint in their hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of those people might have smoked weed once and said, I hate this. And then it maybe been more productive because they wouldn't have been alcoholics.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's not like it just swaps one to the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is going to be a demand. What do you know? If you ban alcohol, guarantee there's going to be a big demand for it. Same way there's a big demand for it now.
Okay.
dude, go into anything that sells anything and be like, wow, they got alcohol. Like, go to anywhere that sells alcohol and notice kind of how much floor space alcohol gets. Yeah. Grocery stores have like 2 full aisles. Like, think about it. Like, grocery stores, my local grocery store, it has a beer aisle, like a whiskey aisle, like a vodka aisle, like a wine aisle.
Yeah.
It's like a third of the, it's like an eighth of the store is just booze.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, like, it's one of the most popular commodities in this country. It's one of the most popular products. Okay. I mean, watch TV. How many commercials are booze? Drive down the road. How many booze billboards do you see?
Yeah.
Go to any restaurant. Like, dude, think of restaurants in this country. I would say 95% probably serve alcohol, right? Anyway, we can wrap up here. It's
we got one last super chat I'm going to read.
Okay.
One last super chat. Thank you very much, Hectic Energy. It says black market abortions are a problem. Yeah. Huge problem. Public health wise, if nothing else, we need to fix these incentives and discourage abortion, in my opinion. Yeah. This is the only thing that frustrates me about the abortion argument. We always end up going to oh, you don't believe in abortion? Well, you must be a bigot. No, I'm just a person that loves life. But I also recognize, like, we never talk about widespread government-funded contraception. I'm totally willing to have that conversation. I just have a problem when murdering a viable baby is your solution to not wanting to have children. Sorry. Contraception is the solution. And this is when I get angry at, like, conservative Christians are like, oh, they shouldn't be giving out condoms in school. No, freaking, they should be installing them in the children. You know, like, when you turn 12 years old, you get it sewn on. You know, you don't get to take it off until our society gives you a license to parent and you've taken the class. You know, that's the way it freaking should be. You know, so okay, I'm speaking hyperbolically here, people. But, like, I mean, really,
again, to the point, though,
if we're going to have billions of dollars going to Planned Parenthood, why isn't it in the actual crap that we all think it goes toward? Parental education, teaching kids free contraception.
To his point, though, the idea of, like, kind of the same thing, right? Like, there's the black market is the black market incentives are still market incentives, right? Like, the idea that there is just this push towards abortions being available to people for money or for insurance or for government funds, whatever. There's an audience. There's consumers. People want that service provided. Like, you know, like, how can, like, what, like, here's the thing. It's like, I almost look at it like booze. Like, when people, like, try to want to, like, ban abortions, I guys didn't have, but, like, I agree, like, I agree that, how do I put this? I don't know if abortion's going to be as heavily regulated. I think if there's conditions that are leading to too many people having abortions when maybe they don't need to have them, those conditions.
All of us agree with if right? The Democrats made good on their promise of safe, legal, and rare, we'd all be on board. But they're not. They're not safe in, like, so many municipalities. They're not legal. Actually, no, they're legal everywhere.
Actually, they're safe. They're safe and legal. They're just not rare.
Yeah, so you're right. Thank you for fixing what I was about going to say. Talking about the safe, it's not uniform the safety protocols is what I mean to say. And so we're constantly fighting about admission privileges, this and that, because it regulates by state.
Like, it's not like an epidemic. People die.
And the legality we haven't even figured out yet, because some places let you do it up to the day before birth. Like, we have the most insane abortion on demand legislation. Like, Europe looks at us like barbarians. We're constantly trying to compare ourselves to European social welfare.
What about this?
And they look at us like barbarians. And then rare, forget it. Not even close to being rare.
What about this, though? Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes in America, it's price of freedom. You want to talk about free? You want to have abortion like
no, fine. No, but if you want to take that, if you want to say that's the price of freedom, fine. If you want to take the argument if that's the price of
that's freedom.
Yeah, but if you want to take the argument if that's the price of freedom, fine. Then let me have unfettered gun control. Or sorry, let me have unfettered gun access. Because if you have unfettered abortion access, well, yeah, but see, we're not. So they get all regulatory when it comes to guns, but not all regulatory when it comes to abortions.
Because, like, there's different states with different rules, right? Like, dude, yeah, like, what if some states want to say, like, yeah, we have basically no regulations, and some states say we want to have stricter regulations. I think that's up to the states, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I just it's the kind of thing, I think, as you kind of highlighted as well. I don't think we're ever going to just come to some kind of, like, mild agreed upon consensus. I think it's going to be a little bit hot, the abortion debate. So, yeah, I do think something like how America was designed to ideally work is where you have multiple areas with different laws, different municipalities, counties, districts, states that have different laws and different rules for how they do things. And people could say, hey, in this state we feel this way, and in this state we feel this way, and then the whole country can kind of function as long as free movement exists, right?
Yeah.
Like I think, I'll tell you one thing. This idea of the federal government opposing law against everyone, I do think, I pray goes away.
No, we
The
impose
federal
law of thou
government-
shalt not murder on everybody.
Okay, but the idea
You
that-
just hope that bad laws.
not even bad, just non-consequential stuff. For example, I don't think
I think murder is consequential.
I don't think marijuana should be federally. I think the federal government can say we won't charge you for marijuana, but they shouldn't go state by state and say you must legalize.
Yes, no. And the only thing, and that's why I said if I had all the money, I would start an originalist constitutional country, because the only thing the federal government is supposed to do is to defend us. Everything else is supposed to be states' rights. Everything. But there's 13 different housing authorities in the federal government. So yes, the federal government has gotten way too huge, and that's why I'm a limited government guy. I'm a limited federal government guy. Okay, so anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. This has been an awesome stream. Thank you to everybody who's given us super chats. This is Problem Solved Politics. We'll see you guys in the next movie.